Hey everybody, Cosplay Freddy here, aka Freddie Lee Jones III. I am going to do my first review of a Netflix show that I'm starting to become a huge fan of because of the subject matter. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about Glow, aka the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Back in the day, when I was a wee young boy, my aunt and I used to stay up till about midnight on Saturdays and tune into NBC, which was Channel 6 in New Orleans back then, and we would wait for Glow. Now, the reason why I love Glow, obviously as a big wrestling fan, I also loved it because it was ladies wrestling. And yeah, we had in the WWF at the time, you had the Fabulous Moolah, you had Mae Young, you had Alana Blaze or Alora Blaze, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Alana. You had a few other folks here and there. But with Glow back in the day, it was more cartoonish, but yet it had serious elements of like what you would think this product would have been. Yes, it was campy as all hell. You had the rap that was the intro, which was so amazing just to watch it. They would break into their rap about their characters, and I thought that was pretty amazing. My personal favorites was Justice, the Hawaiian woman. I can't remember her name. For some reason, I want to say Big Kahuna, but Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji, that's who she was. But of course, my all-time personal favorite was Big Bad Mama. Reason why I loved it, because she was a comedic take, and yet a house-made take on Kamala. She dressed, like a mother or like any of my aunts, as a big woman back then. But she also had like the makeup from, the old movies where, it was almost kind of like she did blackface, but it was more of a satire of she did it in reverse, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas she did the white face and then she did the black around the eyes. So I always thought that was kind of intriguing that, she did that. Now I don't know if it was any kind of, agenda of it back then, but I just thought it was always funny. Plus, she appeared on one of my favorite shows of all time that I would love to make into a movie with the original cast, and I mean from everyone that's in it, unless, we can't get the original cast. But she was in Married with Children, and she faced off against Bud Bundy when he was dressed up as a bee, killer bee, and I think Al Bundy got into the ring and she did a power bomb off the top rope. Not a power bomb, but she did a slam off of the five-star frog splash off of the rope. And I think it was on Bud Bundy, if I'm not mistaken. But back to the Netflix show. That was just a brief history on why I loved Glow back then. But there were so many other characters like the old biddies, the two housemaids, and they always sounded like they were from Jersey. But of course, as a child, I didn't know like what that was like. So basically, the old biddies were the real housewives of what you see now, in my opinion. They just around the house, they get all made up and dolled up. But these women were always in house coats and, hair in the rollers with the hair nets and the makeup on their face. Not the makeup, but the mask on their faces and all that other stuff. But, it was still pretty cool. Now, I just sat down and watched the pilot. Now, I knew that this was coming. I didn't know if this was supposed to be around the anniversary of Glow, because I always loved the documentary that just so happens to be about a year or two ago, I saw. I think it was called The Rise and the Fall of Glow, and never knew how much stuff really went into it as opposed to what we saw as the audience. So, with that being said, here is my review of the pilot of Glow on the Glow TV show on Netflix. It was amazing. Now, granted, it's not going to be 100% accurate, and I think it's more of a what's the word I'm looking for? It's more of a, we're going to pull some ideas from it, and we're not going to actually make it about 100% about the show, but it's going to be like a reenactment or a reimagining of what the original Glow was. So there are a few people who are in this show that I've seen just in the pilot. There is Johnny Mundo, who plays a wrestling trainer, and then you have Kia Stevens, who is the phenomenal, and I really wish I could have met her or seen her live at a WWE event when she was in WWE, but I loved her in TNA, and I still love her in TNA, but she's known as Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong is one of those female wrestlers in the vein of like Mae Young and the Fabulous Moolah. She was a woman, and there are a few others like Trish Stratus, Ivory. Then you take Jackie, and then you have Jacqueline, and then you have Jazz, and then there's a few other female wrestlers that I can't think of altogether because this interview is but this review is specifically on the fly, so that's why it sounds so jumbled. But Awesome Kong, aka Kia Stevens, what I love about her and what I've loved about her when I watched her wrestle is she's an actual female wrestler. She's not tits and ass that's just out there to look good. She actually has fundamentals and the skills to give you a great show. She is one of those that she could probably, if not, and I can't remember if she has, but she can go toe-to-toe with some of the guys. Oh, Gail Kim is another one. Gail Kim is another phenomenal female wrestler that actually can wrestle. And I think that was always the thing between TNA and WWF after the Attitude Era. After the Attitude Era, that's when it just became kind of like this gong show of so-called female wrestlers. And some of them do have talent, but I think it's more exploited into the TNA aspect of it to now they're more cartoonish. But again, back, get off the tangent, back to the show. This show, from the first pilot episode, it made me think of all of the times my aunt Cherry and I would stay up late just to watch Glow. And there was some times when I would be like, I'm dead tired, and I would sleep first just so I could watch that 1 hour of Glow. Wake up about 11:30, 30 minutes to spare, get my bowl of cereal ready, or some pizza or a po' boy or whatever I can get my hands on, just to stay awake for that 1 hour of Glow. And with this show brought back so many memories, and that's what it's going to do for you if you've seen Glow before. If you have not seen Glow before, I would highly suggest you check out YouTube, because I know that there's a few episodes on it, and hell, just to see the damn intro would be amazing to watch. The fact that these women bust their asses just to get these shows with a crazy producer and a crazy director who just took a chance on these ladies, and the fact that they turned it more into, instead of a sports entertainment show, it was more like a sitcom that had wrestling in it. There were skits, and it was a variety show. That was another thing that was so unique about it. It was a variety show that was set up like a sitcom that just so happened to involve female wrestlers. Who comes up with this stuff? Obviously, back in the day, in the 80s, when people had the balls to take chances and say, hey, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, okay, we move on to the next one. It's going to hurt, but we move the hell on. But if it hits, then this shit hits. And like I said, just off of the first episode, I'm already a fan, and I'm actually going to be looking up more of the old school Glow videos just to get back into it, because again, with this show, they're taking liberties with characters. So you do, like with Glow, the old school TV show, you had Mount Fuji, who was, the Samoan, goddess, and she was from Hawaii. Her character was from Hawaii, and they basically built everything around what a Hawaiian would be. In this show, the new show, there is a young lady who just so happens to come from a wrestling background. Her dad's a big-time wrestler. Her brothers were big and are big time wrestlers. But she's not calling herself Mount Fuji yet. She's going under a different moniker. And just like with Awesome Kong. And I saw that Awesome Kong has lost a lot of weight. And hey, kudos on to you, sister, for, I always thought you was in phenomenal physical shape, but like she almost looked totally unrecognizable. But then again, she didn't have her signature braids. She wasn't wearing her signature, Roman warrior outfit or her Amazonian outfit that you normally would see her in. And I think this is honestly, besides a wrestling shoot show, and I can't remember the name of the damn show that I saw her on, but that was the first time I ever seen her out as Kaya Stevens and not Awesome Kong. And she was actually, I think she had taken her braids out. But that's what I remember of Awesome Kong. And I'm praying that she is playing Big Bad Mama or a version of Big Bad Mama in this. Like, that would do my heart so much justice if Kaya Stevens, aka Awesome Kong, is portraying a Big Bad Mama-esque style character in Glow. And then there's another young lady. I've never seen her in anything before, but she was in a show called Contact, and she's been in movies and TV before. But she's playing a woman I think called Cherry Bomb, but with the attitude and her in-ring tactics and the way she carries herself, I swear to God, she is playing justice in this. Now, they haven't fully become the Glow ladies yet. We're still in the production phases of getting everything together. We're still weeding out different people here and there. But it's funny as a fan that when you see certain people, you automatically know who they're supposed to be, even if it's just a carbon copy. But not, it's the to take it back to the 80s, I'm sorry, we'll call it a designer imposter, like those old perfume commercials. When you couldn't afford Calvin Klein 1, you got the designer imposter, which was Silencio Por Favor number 2. It's crazy stuff like that. But you see the main characters as their counterparts, and you're like, man, I wonder how many more people are actually going to be in this show, that hopefully they can get a couple of cameos from the original Glow ladies. Here's praying to that, that we can make that happen. And another reason why I love this show so much is it really feels like you're back in 1980, I think it's 5, or if not a little bit earlier. Just like with the Get Down, and I'm sad that show was leaving, but just like with the Get Down, every time you watched it, you felt like you were back in the 70s, in New York. With this show, you feel like you're back in, the 80s in Hollywood, in California. I mean, it look, the feel of it, the clothes. One of the ladies, had an old VW, what looked like it might have been a Golf or either a Rabbit, and she's one of the main stars. And I was like, man, I remember when that car used to be a hot commodity for people back in the day. So, all in all, I just want to say thank you, Netflix, for producing this and doing it the best way you know how. This is Cosplay Freddy, aka Freddie Lee Jones III. You can follow me on my YouTube page at Freddie Lee 3. That's Freddie, Freddie, space Lee, capital Lee, and the number 3. And you can follow me there on Instagram, also at Cosplay Freddy. And I'm also on Facebook, Freddie Lee Jones III. I'll see you later. Out.